Good afternoon, everybody. This is Dark Enforcers podcast number 1. Today's November 12th, 2013, and yeah, we have no idea what the heck we're doing, but we'll figure it out. We got some stuff
and
to
we'll
talk.
wing it like a boss.
You got it, man. All right. So joining me here, I got Spirit Sage, aka Matt, in real life.
Hello.
And we got Yoho, who is James, his real name.
Yo.
Right on. So I guess this being the first one, I guess people might as well just say like what their gaming experience is, just so people know where they're coming from. You know, what kind of things you like, what systems you had coming up, and things like that. So I guess I'll go first, we'll just go down the line. So I my dad had actually gaming like NES. We never had a SNES. So I was playing NES till forever. It seemed that was the only gaming system as far as I knew back then. And gaming wasn't really big to me until like late PlayStation 1, where I played like Metal Gear Solid, and it's like, holy crap, you know, games can have stories like this. This is insane, you know, like full VO and all that good stuff. So that's kind of when I got into it. Pretty late, and played a lot of PS2 games. I've got like over 200 PS2 games. That was a big one for me. And then I got PS3 and 360 each when those launched. Did a lot of that. Traded in my 360 not too long ago, just to get down payment on PS4. So playing PS4. I'm gonna get both my games. You wait and see. But so that's pretty much it. Kind of like I said, late. I don't have the retro edge that a lot of people you see on Twitch or gaming sites tend to have. But so that's me. You want to take the next one, Sage?
Sure, I can. This is Spirit Sage, aka Matt, and the retro stuff that he just described is exactly what I am. I'm 29, and the very first game I ever played, and I'm not kidding you, is E.T. for the Atari 2600. It was not a good start, but luckily that didn't deter me. I've been playing, I've been playing games pretty much since I can remember. I think my first memory is of playing some game or another. I had the NES, Super Nintendo, N64 growing up, original Game Boy Color, Nintendo DS, I'm missing one, Game Boy Advance, Super Game Boy. I had PS1, PS2, PS3. I didn't get an Xbox original. I did have a 360, but I really wasn't a fan of it. It only had a couple of games that I wanted to play. I also had a Sega Genesis at one point, but that's the only Sega system I ever bought. Not that I don't like Sega, I just kind of had a limited funds growing up, so you had to pick one, and I kind of went Nintendo. Oh yeah, I had a GameCube as well.
Right.
I have currently I have a Wii, a PS3, and the laptop that I'm currently connected to for this. And I also at one point had some of the PSPs, and those were pretty good, but for the most part I would consider myself more of a PC gamer over a console gamer. Some of my favorite games growing up, I really liked a lot of the Square games, so like Final Fantasy VI, Chrono Trigger, Chrono Cross. I really liked the Persona games.
Right, yeah.
That really kind of pulled me into the PS2. I was kind of late getting into the PS2, but I really liked Shin Megami Tensei
Nocturne. Yeah, that game was brutal.
Yeah, Persona 3, Persona 4. Yeah, but I do follow a lot of like retro gamers. Like I watch a lot of speedruns. People know speedrunning. I watch a lot of them on Twitch and that kind of thing. So it's kind of where I'm coming from.
Right on. What about you, Yo? What's your gaming experience? I don't even think I know this one.
My first gaming experience was weird. It was on the really old computers when I was little. The floppy disk ones, the really floppy.
Is that like
ones.
Commodore 64? Or?
No, no, no. This is Carmen San Diego, like the really old retro
Oh,
games. I mean,
Okay.
I
yeah,
just
it's
watched an
way
LP
back.
of that recently.
Yeah. And then from then on, after a while, I mean, I don't never really owned a system until the Game Boy. I'm more of the Game Boy Color,
Okay.
and down the road, and then further down, I used to have a Super NES. My friend gave me, but then it broke, and then I got an N64. Like, yeah, Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time for the win.
Nice.
It was fun. And then Super Smash Brothers, and then I got the Game Boy Advance SP. Then went up to the GameCube, and then gave away my N64 to my friend, and then eventually down the road I got into Xbox, but not just the regular Xbox 360, because
Okay.
I just kept playing on the GameCube because I was kind of a Nintendo fanboy at the time.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
Oh, that's all good, man.
Yeah, yeah, and then after I still have my GameCube. I never got rid of it. I don't know why, but
Yeah, mine's
still
still
there
around
in my
here
closet.
somewhere.
And the Xbox 360, and then I don't know why it possessed me, but I got a PS2. Still a bunch of fun games I still played. My favorite one was Killzone.
Nice.
I think Killzone 2. No, wait, no.
Dude, you ran that on the PS2? Holy shit.
No, which I can't remember.
He's just that awesome.
I'm
That's
just
insane.
no, it's Killzone the first
No,
one.
I
never
know.
mind. I was just my brain just okay, my bad. Killzone, yeah, that was like, oh my god, it is such a fun game, and the multiplayer and co-op thing is pretty cool, even though there wasn't really much. I mean, next to your friend type of deal.
Well, that was the thing, like,
Still,
for
that was pretty
PS2, like, for online first-person shooter especially, like, there wasn't really, I don't think there was really anything, like, what are first-person shooters could go online?
What you had to do in order to get the PS2 to go online was so much work, and you had to buy a bunch of shit and then modify the setup of it, and it's like, I just don't
Well,
want to do this.
kind
No,
of.
I'm done.
The Slim PS2 was out at the time, you see. And the Slim PS2 had the modem built into it, so that's what I had at the time, and it was a lot easier to get in. But yeah, if you had the fat PS2s, you had to
I
have the
did.
modem attachment, and you had to like install a file to your memory card, and yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I didn't have an Xbox when that came out either, so that was kind of my first first console FPS online.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And basically after a while, I started getting into more PC games, League of Legends, and the MOBA games type of deal. And
Okay.
and then I'm mostly an RPG guy. Just for the short version, I love RPGs.
Nice.
Just can't get enough of those. Yes.
Well, I think we all got that in
And-
common at least.
Yeah, and then after just playing PC, I just don't really play consoles anymore, unfortunately. I mean, I am going to get a PS4. I got rid of my Xbox, traded it in for the Xbox, and a few games already got paid off already, so. And that's pretty much it.
Right on. Cool, yeah. So it sounds like we all have kind of like different, areas, that's for sure. So that's cool.
Yeah.
But a bit of overlap there, like I said, with the RPGs and that. So
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah. So I guess we'll just move on ahead. First thing I gotta do is just some quick DE stuff. Dark Enforcer's new stuff here. First one up for anybody who's listening to this and doesn't know, we do have new forum boards up. If you just go to, it's now Dark Enforcers /forums, it should come right up, or you can get there through the main page, of course. You will have to sign up for new accounts. I think you still need to do that at some point.
Oh, I do. I'll do that right now.
But you'll have to sign up a new account just because it is separate from our old database, but it's pretty easy to do. New forums are really, really cool. The guys have put in a lot of time in getting that going. We got a little of live chat there at the top. It gives you alerts now when people reply to your topics, so you don't have to go through hunting through. There's a lot of different forum areas for all the different like sports and comics and all of that, so it would take you a while to find any updates otherwise. And yeah, just a lot of good features on there. Guys on the council kicked the money together to pay for it, and yeah, I think it was worth it. The other thing is new divisions. With PS4 and Xbox One coming up, we've added some new divisions for anybody who wants to join. Killzone, I'll be running at least to start off with until we get a division leader for that. Call of Duty Ghosts, which I forget who's running that. It might be Swede, but don't quote me. And Battlefield 4, which is being done by Dark Deathwing. All of those there, and some are labeled under just PS4 or what have you, but they do span all the consoles. I know at least for Battlefield 4, when you do the clan tag on one version, it does contribute to, like, so if you're on PC and you have another guy on PS4, but they're both using the Dark Enforcers like tag, when you look at the clan stats on the website, it aggregates it all from the multiple versions. So if you're not on the same version, you can still contribute. Does that make sense? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so yeah, so that's that. There's some other stuff we're working on, but those are the big ones for Dark Enforcers at the moment. Alright, so gaming news, the stuff that we all care about. Any of you guys care about this kid who got the Xbox One early?
What? Who's gonna get
No,
punched
you gotta
sooner?
explain this.
Yeah, so this kid got he ordered it from, let me make sure I get this right. I think he ordered it from oh shoot, Target, I want to say.
What?
Yeah, he ordered, I'm pretty sure it's Target, but it almost doesn't matter. Whoever he ordered it from sent it to him early, and he got it like 2 or 3 nights ago, like pretty early.
Wow, that's wow. Somebody must have really.
Somebody probably got fired.
Yeah, several somebody's probably
Yeah.
got fired.
So this kid got it, and he you know, excited obviously. He ordered a shit ton of
can't use
games
it.
too. I don't know what this kid does, but anyway, he unboxed his system, recorded it, threw it up on YouTube. You know, just showing like everything, excited as all hell, and he posted up I think a video of like the menus and all that. He logged like what the game installs for a lot of games were. Like Forza was like 30 gigs, and Battlefield was like I think 40 or something.
I'm not surprised. It was pretty big on the Battlefield 3. It was huge.
Yeah.
I mean, on the Xbox 360.
So he did all this stuff, and after, you know, probably within 24 hours, Microsoft, because he connected, and you have to update your system to play it offline.
Yes,
Right?
because it's basically a box unless you get the
Yeah,
day one
so-
update for it.
He had to connect it online, and anyway, his box got zapped. He got banned from Xbox Live before the system's even out,
Wow,
which is
that's
I don't know. That's pretty sketchy. Like it's not the dude's fault that they send him.
That's a dick move on Microsoft. I mean,
So
Yeah, I think that's going to be a PR backlash. I think people
Yeah.
are going to be pissed about that because it's like, yeah, exactly. It's not his fault that he gets the game like 3 or 4 or whatever, however many days early it is now
Yeah.
from the launch. I don't know what the launch day is. I mean, yeah, he posted all these videos and stuff, but it's like, you know, he's got the game. I mean, they shouldn't have made it so that you had to connect to the internet. They should have just made it so that you could play
Yeah,
the game
it'd be
without
kind of
doing that.
free publicity in a sense if you do it that if it's done like that. I mean, showing how awesome the system is and all that jazz.
Yeah.
Just why not just let them have it? I mean, shit.
so
Yeah, the damage is done anyway. Now.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like so I don't know what they were thinking. Like I get you know, getting him to take the videos down. I get, you know, if you want to like contact him and, you know, just say, hey, you know, because Microsoft, the PR fallout has already happened for the most part. Microsoft said that they didn't want him on live because they're still doing like last minute crunch because it's still 2 weeks out, and they don't want it like being used while they're trying to make changes or whatever, and
Since they consider they rushed the damn thing. you
but
know.
it's like, okay, well, maybe this is true, but it's like, why don't you just like contact the guy, either like email or phone number, like you gotta put all that stuff when you register for live anyway,
Well,
and just contact the guy and be like, hey, you know, it's cool that you got your system early, we hope you're having fun with it. Service isn't ready right yet, so we're going to temporarily, you know, cut you off until the 22nd, and then we'll reactivate your account, right? Like,
that would be the smart thing to do.
but
Yeah.
they just ban them. It's like, that's pretty harsh. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I've gotten PlayStation games early from Walmart or whatever, but, you know, I never got account banned for it.
Yeah, I don't find that Sony really cares for the most part, you know, because yeah, you can play them. I mean, even if you go online with them, what the heck are you gonna do? Play with yourself?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
it was just weird that weird they got the system, but all our stuff is pretty insane too. Yeah, so I guess next thing is, how you guys finding that Infinite Crisis patch?
Well, it's you know, as far as graphical and UI changes, I find it pretty good. I mean, I'm glad that you can do simple things now, like press an invite button to invite people to your party, as opposed to typing in that really annoying
Yeah, the DOS code,
G invite or whatever it is.
the
Yeah.
cheat codes to invite your friends.
Yeah, it definitely looks a lot better on my laptop, which is, you know, very. I wouldn't say it's not super low end, but it's certainly just barely meeting the minimum requirements. So things like having UI scaling and having that stupid thing in the top left corner when you click on someone not be like half the size of the screen is really helpful when you're trying to like finish off that kill.
Yeah.
I still really have this theory that they probably stealth threw in a bunch of little changes to champions though, and they just didn't say so. But maybe they didn't. I have no idea. It just feels like that though.
Well,
Nah.
you wouldn't be the only one. Like, the three of us here, we do play Infinite Crisis, you know, on our off time too. So this is definitely not the first time we've discussed this topic. But yeah, it's weird. It does seem like there's been more changes made than the patch notes.
Yeah.
Which just say, you know, bug fix here, you know, some changes to the maps like Coast City and all that. And yeah, the graphic changes, I don't know if I don't mind them, but I don't know if I like them better. Like,
I don't.
it seems like the points, at least on Gotham Heights, are like, they stand out more, but they also like less detailed, it almost looks like.
Yeah, it's too bright in my opinion. It's just like, you know, you can only do it to so much, and then it's just pointless, and it just looks bad in the process. It doesn't blend well with the environment.
Yeah, I think that might be what they were kind of going for, though. Like, I don't know if they pulled off the right balance, but I think that was done somewhat intentionally to make it stand out. Because that is one thing, like, you can say about League of Legends or, you know, anything like that is, you know, things you need to have, like, pay attention to do stand out from everything else. Like, those turrets are made of stone, right? So they clearly look separate from all the foliage and crap around it, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and that's the kind of the difference from League of Legends too, is because it's kind of like a pseudo fantasy setting.
Yeah.
They can get away with something like that. Whereas if you're trying to have some sort of like you're already building on like an established IP in DC Comics universe, so you can only do so much, I assume, with it especially when you're using specific like Gotham City. It isn't just like Joe Blow City like that they just invented. It's supposed to have a certain feel to it. So if they just had like these giant white things or something, like what the heck is why is this here, and what does this have to do with Batman?
yeah, so I think they're on a good track. But
Yeah.
yeah, a little bit to go. But yeah, as far as the UI and all that goes, it's definitely a great improvement there, I'd say.
Yeah.
They added some tutorial videos, which I gotta go through. Because
I tried clicking on them last night and they didn't.
Oh,
work,
yeah?
But maybe it was just. Yeah, it might have just been my computer though, because again, I'm having sluggish response with the load time on some of the things since the patch.
well, that's the thing. Like when you click on them, it just takes you to YouTube. So
Yeah, it didn't even link me there, so I could find them online anyway.
yeah, they're probably under the Infinite Crisis game channel or something. Yeah, I'm going to go through them myself because this. Yeah, funny enough, like last week there on my Facebook and all that, I was saying I was going to be doing tutorial videos, and then this happened, and they saved me a lot of work.
Well, I'm sure there's still a lot of stuff that they didn't.
That's
put in
what
the
I
video
gotta
that you
go
could
through.
add in,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
So I gotta go through and find that out. But yeah, no, I think it was a decent patch. I don't think it was the patch that everybody wanted.
The only thing
But
I'm
it was
glad
the
about
patch
the
they deserved.
Yeah, maybe, maybe.
Okay, yeah. let's just
we
go with
deserve, kung fu action Batman who kicks across the map
that.
and Flash the
Martial
teen
arts.
grinder.
Yeah. Yeah, the fucking. And the only thing I'm glad about the patch is the freaking fix on Atomic Green Lantern's grab. Only thing
Yeah, so
I liked about the patch.
so you think they actually improved it, right?
Oh, so much.
Yeah.
You can actually grab people from a distance with the damn thing. And it's not as glitchy, because usually when whoop, 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 back and forth when they're grabbing them, they fix that too when they grab the enemy.
Yeah.
So when you grab them, they come straight. It doesn't go wibbly wobbly on your ass.
Yeah. That's weird. But that's good that.
Of course, that just might be me, but that just.
Yeah, maybe you had a bit of my luck there, where it's like, as Matt there knows, I in fighting games would be like, oh, that's unfortunate. It's like, yep, it's funny how I get all that stuff. It's like I get grabbed out of a super move in Blaze Blue, and it's like, well, there's that.
Yeah, it's like, what invincibility?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
It's like it's not supposed to happen, but when it's me playing, somehow it happens, or I'll find bugs that you're not supposed to be there.
You're beta testing.
Yeah.
They just don't know their game's still in
I
beta.
just don't get paid.
Well, you just put that down your resume anyway. Like, yeah, I beta tested all these games for you. Here's all the bugs that I found. Clearly, you should be hired.
I've been working the last year. I just haven't been getting paid.
Backlog.
Yeah. The other patch, which I know you guys won't know as much about, is DC Universe Online for PC and PS3 and PS4 when it comes out. They have their update 31 coming out, which pretty much retextures the entire game to make it look like, it's more recent at least. So that's going to be a hell of a download, but I'm looking forward to that. I'm planning on getting on DCUO when I get my PS4 also. I'll take a free game.
Awesome.
When you drop $400, you don't have much for games, so I'll be checking that
all
out.
the free games that are coming on from PC over to the PS4, which I find interesting.
Yeah, there's that. There's Warframe. There's what else?
Love that game.
Yeah. Oh, Blacklight Retribution, right?
Yeah.
And
No.
yeah, and Sony's actually giving away a game called Resogun, game by the guys who made Super Stardust HD for the PS3.
Oh, nice.
Their new one, yeah, Resogun, which is kind of like if you mixed Stardust and I think Defender, yeah, together.
Oh, I thought that'd be interesting.
Yeah, so they're giving that away for free for all people who buy PS4, at least for like the first month or something like that. So hey,
Resogun.
I'll take it.
That's cool. Oh, that's pretty badass.
Yeah. So
Neo.
yeah, that's mostly it for the stuff that I got, other than the Sony terms of service, which yeah, it's an interesting one. I don't know. You might know the story better than me, there, Matt.
Well, I just read it because it was linked to me on Facebook by someone that I followed. And basically, what it was talking about is that some guy was looking on the UK version or the European version of the new PlayStation terms of service, and apparently it was updated to say that now something that was originally offered, which was, I believe, it wasn't just, I think it was backwards compatibility as well as being able to have DRM-free games and whatnot on the PS4 has now been, at least what by his opinion, has now been reversed somehow by the way that they were wording it in the terms of service, that they're now yanking that, which of course, right before the PS4 is supposed to launch, that is very bad publicity.
Yeah.
And originally, at first, we were thinking, oh, maybe it was because it was posted on a Microsoft fanboy website. We were like, oh, maybe this is just like trying to slander the PS4. Like, I'm not really one way or the other. I'm not like a fanboy of any system anymore. I'm more of a PC person.
I'm confused. I thought there was no backwards compatibility at all for the next gen consoles.
Well,
yeah, you go
there
ahead.
isn't, but you can download PS1 games and that on your PS4, right?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So what this was saying now is, well, actually, I'll go back. So back at E3, Sony was making a big deal back when Xbox One was still not going to let you trade in games because everything had to be installed, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that was the other thing.
So
right, yeah.
Sony was made a big deal of like, hey, we're not like that. You can still trade your games and all of this stuff. So they are really pro-consumer, and then with this terms of service, it's saying things like the backwards like any digital or physical software, you can't resell without the permission of the publisher, or if the company
and Sony.
Yeah, or if the publisher is not Sony, then the appropriate publisher for said title.
Yeah.
I can understand that for the digital, but that doesn't make any sense for the physical.
Yeah, it seems to cover both, and
that's odd.
so obviously a lot of people a bit worried about that. But I was reading, so about, I don't know, 14 hours later, after I saw this from Matt, finally it popped up on IGN and all that, and they were like pretty much saying after they looked into it that it definitely like says just that, but it's something that they probably won't implement. It's more just something so if there is like rampant piracy or anything like that, they can say it's covered under this.
Yeah, I don't know about that, because I just find that, especially like with last gen, with the PS3, Xbox 360, and so on, like they got to the point where they were really trying to say, you know what, maybe we want to just have our game sales be going to us and not to, like, because basically, like, for people that don't know, if you're buying a new game, basically almost all of the money goes to the publisher slash the like the company that makes the game or whatever.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're buying a used game, almost all the money goes to the retailer you're buying it from used, and only a tiny little bit. It might. I want to say it's a lot, but I mean, I could be wrong on this. And certainly, it's been a long time since I worked at one of those kind of outlets. But anyway,
No, go ahead.
So basically, what Sony and Microsoft and any other publishers and first-party console makers and the people that make the games and stuff, they obviously want to make more money, and so I can see the idea that they're trying to say, okay, if we cut back on this now, and people always had to be new, then we're getting more money. But that puts places like GameStop and things like that completely out of business, as now what are you going to do? They're going to basically only be able to do new games and or used games from other systems from previous generations, which are slowly going to kind of fade into a very niche market very quickly as the new systems come in. So doing this now, I can understand that they'd want to do it with the launch of a new console if this is in fact what they're trying to do, because they want to, set the line and not do it halfway through a console like they kind of tried to do, or it might not have been them. It was one console tried to do it partway through last generation, and people were just backlashing all over the place on it, and so they just said to heck with it. And I could see where they're going with it, but at the same time, it's like there's two sides of it. People want to be able to get cheaper games if they can, and at least it's recycling it, because otherwise, it's like if you can't trade it in, I guess you could sell it to somewhere, but then if they can't play it, that after it's been used once, then it's just going to get thrown in the garbage or something.
Well, that's the weird thing. Like Sony's been doing this so with PS4 coming up, they've been doing this like inexpensive upgrade plan. So if you buy like, let's say, Call of Duty Ghosts on PS3 digitally, and then you get a PS4 and you want Ghosts on the PS4, you can pay $10, yeah, to get the PS4 version. So you know, they've been pretty like, you know, forward thinking in the sense of that, and have been like, they were the last ones to show when it came to like PS3 and Xbox 360. The big thing was the activation codes, right? Like, you had to buy a game new to get that activation code so you could go online. And coming into this generation, EA said they're not doing it anymore.
Oh, thank God.
Ubisoft, I believe, got rid of their system, which I forget what it's called right now, but they had a similar thing. And
Uplay?
yeah, so it's like, so if Sony
They still have
does do this, they'll be pretty much the only ones. And
Yeah.
you know, just the way they've been with everything else, at least, I don't really see them doing that. But yeah, I don't know, it's really weird that they do that at all. So that they'd even put it in there. So I don't know what their intentions in that are, but
There's going to be some serious repercussions if it does. They're going to pull friggin' Xbone 1 on
yeah,
that'd
that would
be
be
really
weird.
stupid.
But
Yeah, the fight against piracy is one of those things that the more you
Oh.
fight against it, the more you get people
Yeah.
trying to undermine it just on principle sometimes, to be like, oh, if you're going to make more restrictions for us, then we're going to go against it even harder because you're being a dink, basically. So it's kind of like, you know, you win, you kind of lose on both ends of it, because I mean, there was an article recently, I think it might have been on Penny Arcade, in like the Penny Arcade report, talking about a particular company that was like, they have no piracy protection whatsoever. They're just like, you know what, it's going to happen. We're not going to, you know, do all this stuff to basically cause DRM and screw people. So, you know, the odd pirate's going to come in, but we're just hoping that the vast majority of people are going to enjoy our games enough that we want, or that they're going to pay us for it. So that's one way of going. It's kind of the opposite end of the spectrum from some of these other bigger corporations.
yeah, Project Red, the guys behind the Witcher games, they're like that too. That there are no
that's what it
DRM
was.
and
Yeah.
all. Yeah.
Yeah, I like The Witcher.
Yeah, so I don't know what they're doing, but yeah, it's really bizarre.
I don't like what they did from 1 to 2, though. I mean, gameplay style-wise, I just...
Don't spoil it. I'm still playing 1.
Okay, I'm not... I mean, I didn't fully finish 1 because there was an issue with my other computer. And I played on the 2 on the console, and just... It was massively different. Like, whoa.
Yeah, it's pretty different, but if you play 2 on the PC, it's kind of like between the two versions, if that makes any sense. Like, it plays like number 1 control-wise, but
yeah, I mean,
they had two
mechanics is just different.
yeah, like they have 2 entirely different control systems for The Witcher 2, actually. Because if you play on the PC and plug in a controller, it goes to controller style, and yeah, it plays a bit different. But I find that's probably a good thing, because I don't think it would work on a controller with normal.
No, it wouldn't. No, the way they did it on the PC wouldn't work.
Yep, pretty much. But yeah, that was it for my stuff.
Okay. Well, I had a couple of things I wanted to just bring up for, you know, some people may be interested, or hopefully someone's interested. Just recently, for anyone that's a Persona fan, the Persona5.jp website was trademarked or copyrighted or whatever it is. Someone put a claim in it just recently for it, and I think it's Index, which is the company behind Atlas, like the parent company, because that's apparently how they work in Japan. You'll have like a big corporation, then you'll have like the sub branches and so on. But anyway, with the fact that that's now trademark, obviously a lot of people are really excited about the fact that whether this is in fact going to be Persona 5 or this is kind of like a placeholder, if they're going to do some other kind of like branch off in the series. Like, I know in North America, both Persona 3 and Persona 4 were kind of niche titles. A decent amount of people that we know personally like love it, but it wasn't like widespread appeal like a Final Fantasy or something like that. And so I'm really excited about that, to see news on that, because that just came out very recently. And I'm hoping for more news on that at a later date. Couple other cool things. the Dark Souls 2 is going into, I think, the next phase of beta. I was a huge fan of Demon Souls and Dark Souls, and so I'm kind of actually not reading information on it on purpose because I don't want to spoil it. See like all these new things or things, I'd rather experience it when it starts. But I just saw that pop up as well recently that the beta is going to the next phase, and I'm really excited for that game to come out when it does.
Isn't it supposed to be coming out soon, or did it get pushed back? Because
I have no idea on release date because I haven't really been following it as far as
I'm gonna look this up.
the progress through it. But it's I would say it's probably coming out. I mean, usually there's 2 main release seasons, right? There's like coming up to Christmas season, like that a lot of people will release games, and then somewhat like into February. The new year they'll release games. Mm-hmm. Yeah, decent amount into the new year they do that. So yeah, excited about that. At some point I will read up a little bit more on it, but I don't want to do any spoilers in case other people don't know about it. And then the last thing is what I was telling Yo before we went on mic here, that a little company that is named Spiderweb Software that's been making kind of top-down 2.5D isometric RPGs, kind of the thing that you get way back in the day. Like if anyone played the Ultima games, that's the perfect example I can give you. He's been, I think it's one guy, I think his name's Jeff Vogel off the top of my head, and he has been doing these games for at least 15 years or something like that. And the newest one called Avedon 2, which is the sequel to Avedon Black Fortress, which I bought, just came out recently. And I just wanted to plug that game because I must have put at least 60 or 70 hours into each of the 2 most recent games because there's so many secrets, there's so many different ways you can play the game, there's so many endings. It's the combat is fun. I mean, it's as far as the graphics, it's very minimalistic, but other than that, it's just the story's amazing. It's really in depth. It's totally the exact type of game that I love playing. So if people want to find that game, it's on Steam. I think it's on goodoldgames.com, which is GOG.com, and then I believe it's also on his website, spiderwebsoftware.com.
It is right on the one guy's name.
Yeah, and I think he I correct me if I'm wrong because I'm not like sponsored by him or anything, but I think he gets more money if you buy it from his website because it's a little bit more expensive. But if you want it cheaper, you can get it on Steam or GOG. So it's like whatever floats your boat. And so that's good times. Definitely recommend his series because he's got 2 major series that he's been doing for a long time. The Avernum series, which he's starting to remake, which you can find the whole of on Steam. There's also the Gene Forge series, which I think is 6 parts or something, which you can also find on Steam, and a couple other random ones. So you can. I think there's a couple that have demos too, but don't quote me on that.
Yeah, there are a couple ones, and the Avedon 2 and 1, or the Escape from the Pit, and those 2 says right here. Yeah,
Avernum's a separate game. Yeah, I don't know why he has this thing where he like starts half of his games with the letter A, B. So, but they're different series. Avernum and Avedon are completely different series.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. But yeah, that's pretty much what I had. Other than if we were going to talk about Path of Exile or any other games that we were currently playing together with DE.
Not really. Well, I wasn't playing on it. DE doesn't technically cover Path of Exile. It's just a lot of us happen to play it on the side.
Well, that's fair enough.
But no, that doesn't really matter though. Actually, just wanted to say one quick thing on back when you were talking about the Persona team. Actually, Atlas itself, was a subsidiary of that other company. Did you know their parent company went bankrupt though?
Yeah, they got seriously foobarred.
Yeah, so apparently what I've heard is that Atlas was bought by Sega, which is a bit worrying.
If
you played any Sega games lately.
Well, it depends because there's different teams I think at Sega, and some of them are really good. Like I love the Yakuza series. Like I really enjoy that at Sega.
That's true.
And they might have another public. Well, I think it is Sega doing it. I could be wrong on the actual company making it, but yeah, there are other Sega games. Like almost all the new Sonic games are kind of questionable, but that's a completely different topic.
The new one's supposed to be really good from what I've seen on preview impressions and things. It's like Sonic Secret World or something like that. supposed to be really
I guess
good.
we'll see then.
But it only took them 15 years to make another good Sonic. But yeah, like some of the stuff they do though is like really worrying. Like a lot of their movie license games, they like just don't give a crap about, and they just really
Well,
have.
movie license games in general, unfortunately, are terrible. I mean, go back
Yeah,
to LJ.
they're not the only
If anyone
ones.
watches the Angry Video Game Nerd videos, like half of the games he does are like LJ and movie license videos. They're absolutely garbage. It's like,
Yeah.
I mean, that's just it's a cash cow. So.
And they can, especially with Atlas being kind of like a niche RPG manufacturer, game like Valkyria Chronicles, which is
Oh my god!
awesome
that was
game
my
for the
favorite
PS3.
PS3 game.
I love that game. The two sequels for the PSP. The better one was the Valkyria Chronicles 3, which we're pretty much officially never going to see the light of day over here.
Yeah,
Which
pretty
is
much. A
really
lot of the
depressing.
games that are really good never get
Yeah, and
ported.
Final Fantasy
Yeah.
Zero, we're also never going to get. But anyway,
Aw.
yeah.
Namco Cross Capcom.
So, yeah, so Sega's not bringing those over.
I'm sad.
Sega basically canned Valkyria Chronicles for, like, especially the PS3 version, which they launched, like, I don't know what they were thinking, canning it, even just, like, putting them onto PSP, because the PS3, when they launched it, like, wasn't exactly its heyday when that game came out.
Yeah.
So, they kind of, I don't know, jumped a shark, but I don't know. I hope they do well. I hope they have the patience to deal with Atlas's numbers and just be accepting of having like successful niche titles and not like playing our Valkyria Chronicles and canning like Disgaea or something.
Yeah, it's hard to say because I mean, if you go to like From Software when they first released Demon's Souls,
Yeah.
it was just kind of like this no advertisement. We're just gonna bring this. We're just gonna kind of like it appears on shelves one day, and it ends up becoming like super popular. And that's like they were just basically testing. They were just saying, okay, let's see if this is something people in North America and Europe want. And apparently it became something that a lot of people
Yeah.
wanted. So I'm just hoping at some point that maybe some of these games that Atlas does, like I understand it's not like a gigantic audience, but more and more people are getting into like anime style games and anime and manga and like Japanese titles and so on, more and more. So I'm hoping that will carry over, so
Yeah.
that at least we can get some of these good games come over here
And,
as a result.
and for every like series that you got from Atlas, like Persona or Disgaea, you have ones like that. What was that? Guided
Super Robot.
Guided Fate Paradox, and that alchemy one. Atelier Iris. There's like
Oh my god, they have
8 of those.
they've remade that one game like 6 times
Yeah.
or something. Like they keep remaking all the Atelier games. It's insane.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing about Atlas is like they started way back in the day. Like I believe, and I'm just trying to find it here, way back on the original Nintendo, if I can find it. I think they made Rockin' Cats. I think that was the game they made on the NES.
Oh, yeah?
Among others. Yeah, there's quite a few games that you wouldn't think were like Atlas games like way back in the day, and I cannot
Oh,
find this thing
that's.
for my-
a
here we
flash
go.
game.
Yeah, Rockin' Cats. They made the Karate Kid, believe it or
Huh.
not.
That wasn't
They
exactly.
They made Friday the 13th as well. Wacky Race. Oh yeah, they did make Wacky Races. I was gonna let's play that quite a few years ago.
Is that the Wii one?
No, that's for the NES.
Oh, okay. Because there's a Wacky Racers on the Wii, and that thing's
Oh, really?
abysmal. It's hilarious. Like I'd live stream that with a friend or something just because it's so bad. Like that would be great.
Maybe one day, yeah. But they made so many games, like way back in the day. Like I'm looking at their Super Nintendo lineup. They had so many good games that never came over here.
Yeah.
Just from even just the Super Nintendo, and that's not counting all these other systems. So that's kind of the thing, is they've always been kind of niche, and now they got some success with some of the Persona games and stuff that it got them more of a carte blanche, I guess, to do a little bit more.
Mm.
But yeah, with Sega taking them over, we'll have to see like how many of the good games they're able to bring over.
The issue with that is because people don't want to take a risk porting stuff from Japan and stuff over to the U.S. because
it doesn't.
That too, the money and the translation. It just sometimes you can't carry it over from the Japanese to English. It's just. And sometimes it doesn't work. I mean, that's some of the issues with when they do that.
Especially with Sega, though, like when it comes to Valkyria Chronicles, not to keep going on this, but Sega's definitely acknowledged that they're at least mostly comfortable with porting over a game like the Yakuza games, which for anybody who played the first one was dubbed, and not only dubbed, like they had like big names like Michael Madsen and other people in there. And
yeah, it was solid.
And then when that didn't take off at least enough to cover their localization, they brought over the R ones and just subtitle, right? So it's like, then why didn't you just subtitle Valkyria Chronicles 3 and bring it over if budget was concerned? like that has to be a safe bet. Like it can't cost that much just to have like two people who know Japanese sitting on a computer and typing out some text. Maybe an editor, so.
Yeah, I would have to agree that it wouldn't cost nearly as much as having to get voice acting and then doing a bunch of other things with it. I mean, I have no idea how much it costs to, like, as far as setting the goals, like, do you want to ship 20,000 and then C or ship 10,000 or like, and it's hard to, there's so many different layers as far as like marketing management, and seeing who's buying it where in the world and that kind of stuff from past games.
Yeah, so. And if they're very aware companies and they're looking to other businesses, like if Valve, for example, has proven anything, it's that customer appreciation will carry your company. Like even if you have tough times or whatever, they'll be there. Which is kind of where like Sony's been backpedaling since PS3 with the PS4 to kind of get to. Back to that, where it's like, yeah, we know PS4, it may not be as big as the Xbox is trying to appeal to everybody, but we know if as long as we lock in those like loyal people, like whatever we do, they'll be there. So it's like if we take a risk, we'll at least recoup our costs, right? So it's like if Sega was, releasing games like that, it's like, well, we might not get rich off this game, but there are people there who want it, and we'll.
Well, and it goes back to the days when, like, way back in the day, like, I'm talking 70s into the 80s, where games were about expressing something. It's kind of like what art was trying to do, like, hundreds of years ago, where it's not, I'm doing this art to make money. Yeah, sure, I need to make a living, but it's, I want to express something with this. And that's where, I mean, this could go into maybe the next podcast or something, that you could talk about indie games and how indie culture is just gone, and games in particular is on the rise for so much, because people want a lot of these things that used to be around that big budget companies just don't do anymore because they don't think there's enough money in it. And that's good in both ways.
Sometimes there isn't.
Can get both. Yeah, but with an indie company, you can have a digital copy of a game and sell it to like, say, 1,000 people or something that are all over the world that want that and make a decent profit from it. So they get what they want, the consumer gets what they want, and then the big budget company can then mass market their whatever they want to these other people that want this other thing. So it's kind of like a win-win.
Exactly, yeah. It's like a game for like, I don't know, like EA or some big company.
Sorry guys, I'll be right back. I got a phone call.
Yeah, no problem, man. Just hit mute on your mic.
Okay.
But yeah, it's like for a company like EA or whatever, they might look at this game and be, GameX and be like, hey, you got some cool ideas, but it's like the amount of people that this would appeal to for how big EA is as a company. It's like they might make, $4 million, which is not enough for what for the amount of manpower that EA has. It's probably not worth it to them. But then you have like, Sony indie, their indie department where they're picking up a bunch of guys recently, and $4 million is a lot to them, right? Like it's all depends on scale.
Yeah, it's relative, and that's what I like, is being able to have options. Because for a while there, for a couple console generations, it was basically like the older, smaller game companies where it was like one or two people were basically almost wiped out, and it was all big companies, and you basically just had to buy what they sold, or that's it.
Yeah, that's very true with like the PS1 and PS2 eras. you know, the GameCube and Xbox and all that. Like, if you didn't have a publisher behind you, there was no way to get your games on those systems.
Yeah, exactly. So with the evolution of it now being able to have both sides of it, I think it's really going to appease a lot more people.
Yeah.
Certainly for me, I'm much more attracted to, for the most part, indie or smaller budget games because they have the kinds of things in them that I'm looking for, as opposed to the big budget where it's more about the graphics and the professional talent, voice acting, and so on and so forth. So it's good balance.
Yeah. So no, it's interesting. All these worlds of gaming are kind of clashing, and a lot of people out there are freaking out about a lot of this stuff. But you know, people with the rise of things like Angry Birds or Candy Crush, it's like, oh no, they're gonna dominate my, you know, Assassin's Creed or whatever. And it's like, I don't know if that'll happen, but you know, it's like when there are like, you know, like 20 million people who play Candy Crush, and then you see, you know, such a game sold 2 million copies, which is really good for a console game to sell 2 million copies. You know, it's yeah, when you're comparing it that way, but I bet you almost anything that they make more money off those 2 million copies sold than, you know, Candy Crush makes off the 20 million people who, most of which just play the free.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, is, I mean, another topic for another podcast as well is the whole idea of free to play and all the microtransactions that are set up that, you know, are good in a way because it allows people to play the game if they want, and it also allows them to then get better or get cosmetic items or so on and so forth with the game if they so desire, but they're not forced to in order to, like, even beat the game. So, you know, it's another way for people to get games and ideas across that people can all people can afford, and then if other people want to kind of, it's almost like a donate button, except you actually get something, even though it's not necessarily meaningful in a large scale. It's still something that's good that people can go, hey, I've contributed, I'm helping this game designer or company, and I also got something kind of cool in the game.
Yeah, exactly, right. Like, I don't mind giving money to a game that I like if they got some cool content that I can get for my money, and you know, it's like it's better than, you know, donating my money and getting nothing, right? Like,
are we talking about Mighty Number 9?
No, we could, but maybe another time. Matt was just saying had a couple good ideas for future ones. Talk about maybe indie games and the whole free-to-play model. But yeah, no, well, I think that's... Anybody else got anything else before we wrap up here?
Other than on Steam there's a complete the Spiderweb software pack of 12 games, so that's just FYI.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure if is that all of them or.
I don't know if 12's all of them, but it's certainly probably all the ones that are on Steam. And more than likely, with Black Friday coming up and Christmas, Steam, everyone knows Steam has sales all the time. So definitely wait a little bit if you really need to, like, save money, but you want to get these things. Definitely wait for Black Friday or Christmas.
Yeah, that's true.
And pick her up then.
Some of these games you can't get off Steam, but it's in the pack.
Yeah, they do that sometimes. $40 for the pack ain't but yeah, Black Friday it'll probably go half price or something.
Yeah.
I just saw on Steam here that they have Defiance for 50% off, so it's $5.
Yeah.
It's a decent hey man, I like my third-person shooters, and a third-person shooter MMO, I'm down. I like it well enough.
My main complaint with Defiance is that you can't there's no what's the word? Each class is not distinct in its own way. There's nothing individualized with each class. I mean,
yeah, well, it's like Path of Exile.
Yeah,
it starts you off in a different spot.
Customization.
Well, yeah, Path of Exile is bigger branch, but it's similar in the way that you have this big tree, and each of the classes start you off at a different corner, right? Though,
yeah, but
in Defiance, you can get enough ego points to learn the whole goddamn thing, if you want.
Yeah.
So it kind of Final Fantasy X syndrome there, where it's like, my orange casting spells because, you know, that's what you should be doing.
Well,
Exactly.
he could be pretty darn good as a spellcaster. You just gotta level him really strangely.
All you need in Final Fantasy X is that zombie strike, and that'll kill 98% of the things in the game, even some bosses. You hit him with zombie,
Yeah, I
and
can't
then you hit
remember
him
half the
with
glitches
cure,
in 10.
and they're dead.
Oh yeah, right. That's kind of like the Final Fantasy VI Invisible X Zone and the Final Fantasy VII Glitch Death Tifa that like just would constantly do ridiculous amounts of damage.
Yeah.
And all of Final Fantasy VIII because the junction system.
Yeah,
is the
junction
broken thing
system.
ever.
If you want to play Final Fantasy VIII legit, you don't use the junction system. Pretty much.
Pretty much.
But yeah. Right on. So yeah,
So yeah, I got nothing else. So if you
nothing
want
else.
to wrap up.
You good, yo? Was there anything else on your?
I got nothing. I was I didn't know how to bring anything, so I just.
Oh
like,
no, it's all good. Like Matt just brought his own stuff. I didn't even yeah. But no, that's cool.
Unless you want to talk about the new 52 of the, no, it's not gaming wise, but of the DC shenanigans.
I'd
but,
be up for
you know,
that, but maybe we'll.
That's another time.
Yeah, we're hitting about almost an hour, which is oops, got a
Oh.
squelch there. But yeah,
Yep, wasn't me.
but yeah, hitting about an hour there, which I think is a good time. So I think we'll probably wrap this up. Yeah, so anybody who's listening to this, thank you. Hopefully we'll be around to do more. I don't know if we're going to do every other Tuesday, I was kind of thinking, but we'll figure something out. Thank you, James, Yoho, and thank you, Matt, Spirit Sage, for helping me out on this. And yeah, until next time, I guess. See you guys later.
Laters.
Alligators.